Hello everyone, I'm Kenya. Today I will present the literary analysis of the novel with the title The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas, focusing on volume 1 to volume 3. This analysis will cover the novel identity, theme, characters, plot, conflict, setting, point of view, and then moral values and the writing style of the novel. And to begin with, let us look at the identity of the novel first. The Count of Monte Cristo is written by Alexander Dumas and was first published between 1844 and 1846 as a serialized novel. It belongs to the genre of historical adventure novel combined with drama and revenge. The story is set in post-revolutionary France during the fall of Napoleon and the Restoration era, which strongly influences the political and social conflict in the novel. So the next, we have author's background. The Alexander Dumas Pere, born with the name Dumas David de la Pelletrie, was a French writer known for his historical novel full of adventure. He also wrote plays, magazine articles, and was an influential correspondent. He worked as a clerk from 1818 and he was born on July 24, 1802 and died on December 5, 1870. But by the way, I'm so sorry if I pronounce the name of the author in a wrong way because I think it's difficult to pronounce the French language. So let's continue. I accessed the novel through Project Gutenberg or gutenberg.org because it is freely available to the public. Although the text cannot be downloaded in PDF format, but it provides full access to the novel without cost. Other websites offer PDF downloads, but they require payment, so I choose the free source. After understanding the identity of the novel and its historical background, we can now move from what the novel is to what the novel tells. Therefore, in the next part, I will retell the story of the Count of Monte Cristo, starting from volume 1 through volume 3. Focusing on the major event that shaped the journey of Edmond Dantès. So, check it out. So, after following Edmond Dantès' early journey and understanding the important event that shaped his life, we can now see more clearly that the main focus on the first volume of this story is on the themes of betrayal and injustice. Readers are invited to witness how an honest young man, which is Edmond Dantès, becomes the victim of conspiracy and abuse of power. This volume emphasizes that truth can be divided by political ambition and personal interest. Edmond's suffering in prison is not only a tragedy, but also the beginning of a major change in his life, which will later shape a new figure with mature thoughts and strong determination. By understanding the focus of the story in the first volume, which emphasizes betrayal and injustice, we can see how this event become the foundation for the development of the story in the next volume. So, after recounting the major changes in Edmond Dantès' life and the emergence of his new identity as the Count of Monte Cristo, we can draw conclusion about the focus of the story in the second volume. In the second volume, the story focuses on the news of his resurrection and new identity. Edmond Dantès has evolved into the Count of Monte Cristo, a mysterious nobleman with extraordinary wealth and influence. This volume shows how he begins to make strategic moves, which is repaying kindness to those who have helped him and setting the stage for his enemies. His main focus is not on overt revenge, but on building power, social networks, and control over the situation. So, after witnessing Edmond Dante rises through his new identity as the Count of Monte Cristo in the second volume. The story now moves further into a more complex and intriguing stage in the third volume, and this volume begins with chapter 48. This volume begins with chapter 48. So here is a summary. So after exploring various special intrigues, family conflict, and strategic move by the Count of Monte Cristo, it is now time to summarize the main direction and focus highlighted in the third volume. So in the third volume, centers on news about social intrigues and the beginning of the destruction of enemies. The Count of Monte Cristo begins to penetrate the personal, political, and economic life of those who once betrayed him. This volume shows how revenge is no longer physical but physiological and systematic. On the other hand, stories of love, loyalty, and morality also serve as a counterbalance, showing that in the midst of a grand plans for revenge, there are still human values at stake. After we told the story from volume 1 to volume 3, we can now move beyond the narrative itself and look more deeply at the literary elements behind it. Therefore, in the next section, I will analyze the theme, characters, plot, conflicts, and other intrinsic elements of the Count of Monte Cristo. Moving on the theme, there are several major themes presented in volume 1 to volume 3. The most dominant themes are betrayal and injustice, revenge and reward, transformation, and moral struggle. Through Edmond Dante, the novel shows how betrayal can destroy an innocent life and how power and knowledge can later reshape that life into something entirely different. And next, let us discuss the characters. The main character in this novel is Edmond Dante, who undergoes a significant transformation. In volume 1, he is portrayed as innocent and optimistic. In volume 2, he reappears as a mysterious and powerful nobleman. And then in the volume 3, he becomes a strategic figure who controls events from behind the scenes. The antagonists include Danglars, who represent greed, Fernand Mondego, who represents jealousy, and Gerard de Villefort, who represents corrupted justice. Supporting characters such as Abbe Faria, Monsieur Morel, Heidi, Maximilien Morel, and Valentin de Villefort serve as moral contrast and emotional anchors in the story. In terms of plot, the novel follows a chronological or forward-moving plot, presented in an episode structure. The exposition introduces Edmond's happy life. The rising action begins with his betrayal and imprisonment. The complication developed through his escape and new identity, and by volume 3, the story moved toward a larger and more complex stage of revenge, although the final resolution has not yet been reached. Next, I will present the conflict analysis of the novel, focusing on volume 1 to volume 3 and how the conflict developed, rise, and reach their climax throughout the chapters. In the novel, there are conflict 1, which is the betrayal of Edmond Dante. The conflicts appears in chapter 1 until 14. In the rising flow from chapter 1 to chapter 7, Edmond returns to Marseille as a successful sailor. He is about to be promoted and plans to marry Mercedes. However, his happiness triggers jealousy. Danglars envies his careers, Fernand envies his love, and Villefort prioritizes his political ambition. This jealousy leads to a false accusation of treason. The climax of this conflict occurs in chapters 7 and 8 when Villefort decided to destroy the evidence that could save Edmond and send him to Chateau d'If without trial. This conflict is mainly external because Edmond faces other characters and the legal system, but it also becomes internal as Edmond begins to question justice and humanity. So, and then the second conflict is imprisonment and inner transformation. Appear on chapter 8 until chapter 14. The second conflict focuses more on Edmund's inner struggle, which is in the Rising Flow. From chapter 8 to chapter 13, Edmund suffers isolation, despair, and hopelessness inside the prison. The climax appears in chapter 14 when Edmund hears another prisoner digging through the wall. This conflict is clearly an internal conflict, which is Edmund versus himself. And then the third conflict is rebirth as the Count of Monte Cristo. Appear on chapter 28 until 34. In the Rising Flow, from chapter 28 to chapter 31, Edmund confirmed that he is officially recorded as dead. He gains immense wealth and begins to use new identities. At the same time, he secretly rewards Monsieur Morel for his kindness. The climax takes place in chapter 34, the Colosseum, when Edmund saves Albert de Morcerf's life. This act creates a powerful bond as Albert acknowledges becomes indebted to the man who will later destroy his father. This conflict is external because it is involving society and former enemies. The fourth conflict is social and psychological warfare, appear on chapter 48 until 60. In the Rising Flow, from chapter 48 to chapter 59, Monte Cristo enters prison high society. He manipulates financial system, marriage plan, and legal structure. And at the same time, Noirtier struggles to protect Valentine through his will. The climax occurs in chapter 60, when Danglars suffers a massive financial collapse due to manipulated information. And then this conflict is both external, involving economic and political system, and internal as Monte Cristo begins to struggle with the moral consequence of his revenge. And then now let us move to the setting. The novel takes place in various locations such as Marseille, Chateau d'If, Rome, Paris, Auteuil, and the island of Monte Cristo. The time setting ranges from 1815 to the late 1830, reflecting political instability and class division in French society. The story is told using a third-person omniscient point of view. This allows the narrator to reveal the thoughts, motivates, and secret of manipulated characters, which is essential for a complex revenge narrative. The next analysis regarding the writing style, Alexandre Dumas used a descriptive and dramatic narrative style. He combined historical detail, emotional dialogue, and suspenseful chapter or suspenseful episode, which keeps reader engaged throughout the story. So finally, in terms of moral value, the novel teaches us that injustice can create lasting consequence. We should not let jealousy and ambition override our sense of justice, and we should use knowledge and power responsibility. To wrap up this video, this novel is not only an engaging story, but also a powerful reflection of human values and moral choices. Through the characters and events, we are reminded that every action has consequence and every struggle carries a lesson. I hope this discussion gave you a clear insight into the novel, and I think that's all for today. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.